back, everybody, to another episode of Black Squirrel Bushcraft. Today we're going to talk about an axe that I have, or hatchet if you will, that I'm going to refurbish. Now, a lot of you may or may not have hatchets and axes around in the tool shed that have seen better days, and you know how it is. The heads get a little bit loose, and we sort of ignore them and put them by the wayside, or we keep using them, right? I know there's people out there that's like, I'll just be real careful, you know. The head's kind of loose, you can kind of feel it clicking away. Well, anyway, you know who you are. I purchased this hatchet about 25 years ago. It was supposed to just be for around the yard. I cut and split a lot of kindling with it for the house, and it came into camp quite a bit. But in recent years, it's taken some battle damage, and the neck on it, pieces have fallen away, and consequently, the handle got loose. So about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I took it out of service, pulled the head the rest of the way off, and threw away the wedge because it was no good. But I decided I was just going to keep it. And the reason is that, you know, it's not a brand name hatchet or axe. It's not a Wetterlings or whatever. But you know, I really like the head on this hatchet. It has sort of a little bit of a concave feel to the face of it. All I know is when I sharpen it with a file a couple times a year, it stays pretty sharp. I have to tell you, it takes a better beating sometimes than my Wetterlings does. So having said that, you know, maybe if I could buy a relatively cheap handle, new handle, I could retrofit it. Well, I did just that. I went on Amazon and I found replacement axe handles, hatchet handles, what have you. And what was cool about it was it's a Wetterlings, it's a hickory handle, you know, just like I would have made myself, but the pros made it and I didn't have time anyway, which would be a really cool video in and itself. But they gave you all the dimensions, including the length, the width, and the opening size and configuration for my axe head. And as you can see, they're a pretty close fit. Now, if anything, I wanted to make sure that I got at least the same dimension, but preferably a little bit bigger so that I can shave it down and get a decent fit here. They also included a wooden wedge with it, which I don't have, but it's in my shop. So the first thing we're going to do is line this up, draw some pencil markings on it, and start shaving it down for the fit. So let me just go over with you real quick how we're going to do that. All right, so obviously we have a teardrop configuration, so you're going to match that up pretty much with the head as it sits over the handle. But the thing of it is, you want that head to fit square on that handle, okay? You don't want it like this and you don't want it like that, so you want it straight across to take advantage of the blade configuration here. And you want the actual head not to come down too far because it starts to spread out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the bottom of my wedge notch as the bottom of where my head is going to come across. And then if I hold it up there, this part just barely comes out of the top here, which is perfect for me. So I'm going to draw some lines with a pencil and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so as you can see on my Wetterling Swedish axe, you know, there's obviously quite a bit of handle that comes out of the top. And if this were to scale, you can kind of see where the head goes down. And their head does go, in fact, a little bit beyond the curve of the handle here, as far as I can tell. And you know, if I was being truly honest here, I'm pretty sure that the head that was installed here might be just a little bit high and behind here, but maybe not. Maybe by design it's supposed to be. But the head itself too has a curve to it, so that makes it a little bit different than my axe head. The head on mine is pretty straight, as you can see. It's very very linear. So having said that, I'm going to basically follow the line here, being that this is about 90 degrees to this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place the axe head across it about so it's 90 degrees on the top, and down just about where just below I'm going to go for the notch, just a tiny bit below. So I'm just going to draw a line freehanding most of it. Like that. And what I'll do is I'm just going to take and extend the pencil down around the corner so that I can pick up that line on the other side and simply draw it straight across. So I'm just going to take it like that, take that like that, and then just kind of connect the dots here. All right. So then the other thing I want to do is, obviously I want to try to match this to fit, and as I don't know if you can see it or not, but it matches top to bottom. In other words, end to end. I don't have to take any off here, and I don't have to take any off here, but I know I have to take some off here and here. So let me just take a look at that. I'm just going to take my handle, put it on top, and look straight down on it. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to shade in a little bit of the area that I think needs to come off. And that's going to go, I'm going to ghost that on the other side as well. So basically I've just shaded a little bit here and a little bit here. And then I'm going to carve some of that out and then fit it again and see how it goes. Now, I'm assuming, okay, that it's about the same width in both directions, but look at that. So I know right away that the top of the head of that axe, okay, is going to have a lot more room in it than the bottom. And there's probably a good reason for that, because you want this to expand when you put the wedge in it. So it's going to fill up the top of that head. So when we take this material off, I'm going to start taking it off basically in this area. Okay, and the same on the other side. I'm going to leave that alone until I can make sure that I'll take a little bit off here, but I'll leave this alone for the most part, because it's going to fill in the top there. Okay, so let me do that and we'll get right back with you. Okay, I know this is a bit upside down. I just wanted to show you how this is progressing in terms of the shaping of it. What I've done is just using my knife, I'm just carving away little by little on each side, and then I'm putting it back on and doing a test fit every once in a while, and I'm getting there. So one of the things I wanted to show you though is that when you are doing a test fit like this and you press the head up here, you know, you can wiggle it around a little bit, and you're wiggling it, you notice how it pivots like that. Well, what you're doing is right here, you're creating little pieces that will curl up on both sides, and that gives you a hint. See that little piece right there? Can you see that? I don't know if it'll focus that close. That gives you the hint as to where you need to take more material off. So when you take it off, you can start to see the finish of it. It starts to curl, and you know what other material to take off. So I'm going to keep carving this, and I'll be right back with you. This is all I've been doing, is basically shave a little and then fit it. And then you can kind of see too where on each side how it's doing. And I'm getting it. I probably have just this little area here on each side to shave down a little bit more, and I think we're right there. All right, so I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we've got our head on the handle. It's square, right to where the line was. You can no longer see the notch in the back where the wedge is, or the front for that matter. And you can see that we have a little bit of a gap there down the front, but that's okay. The wedge is going to fill some of that. And here is the wedge. So obviously the wedge has got to be pounded inside this little groove here. And I don't know, it's just about the right size, so I'll use it. Now what I'm going to do is just lubricate the edge of this with a little saliva so it has a little bit of it slips in a little bit. So I just put it in my mouth for a second. That's just what I do. And it looks like the wedge is made out of oak. So then I'm just going to use I can move you guys over to the edge of the table here. Just going to use my plastic hammer here to get it started. I was hoping to get it up to the front just a little bit more. There it is. That'll cover that gap. Now I don't expect to get all of this in. So I'm going to trim off the rest of it. But that feels really good. That you can just feel that. Can you see it? It really came out nice there. See how that is? That's what you're looking for. And then you just cut the excess off. Piece of cake. All right, so I'll be back with you when we do that. Okay, so you can see that's done. I cut it flush. I left a little bit of height there above the head, much like my other axe is. Mine looks a little bit better, I think, with just the wedge versus the staple. Okay, so why don't we take it out and give it a trial run. See, the handle's all on nice and secure. We're just going to play with it a little bit and see how it does. I don't have a chopping block out here. Every wood pile needs a chopping block. Alright, let's try a little batoning on it. Love red cedar. Well, that seems to work pretty decent. I don't have any qualms about it. It'll be interesting to see how it works in the field. But for all intents and purposes, the head seems secure. I like it. Seems like it's got a good feel to it. And notice it's a little bit longer too. It's the 19-inch and 3/4 handle before it was here. And I feel like you just have that. You have a little bit more range with it, and it feels like it's a little bit more balanced than it was before. And I like the feel of it better than I did before too. So there you go. You know, don't throw that old axe away. Give it a facelift. Put some comments and suggestions down below. Let me know what you would have done differently. I still have to sharpen this, of course, but I'd love to hear some of your feedback. So until next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.